welcome back to Leah's Lifestyle. We're at it again with another Rule Number 1 podcast. We're on number 11, guns, Harleys, and cruise ships. So, without any further ado, let's get to listening to see what they have to say today.
Fits into your life and how to do it.
Yeah, kind of like the way investing impacts your future is pretty significant, or it certainly could be.
And I like to think about it as like a mindful practice.
Like a yoga thing.
Yeah,
like a Zen money thing.
I mean, it doesn't have to be Zen, but
Zen
in the
money.
sense that it's integrated into your life and it's actually helpful to your life and adds to it instead of a chore that has to be done.
Oh.
Yeah.
I sort of like that.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't
let
want
me
it
tell
to be
you,
a chore.
I think about it like a chore, and probably most people think about it like a chore. I think you're one of the few people that enjoys it.
I'm starting to enjoy it.
Oh my gosh, we're going to have to make
honest.
everybody enjoy it. I mean, and how do we go about doing that? In fact, that's what this is all about.
That's what to me, that's what this is all about.
The joy of money.
The joy
of
There we go.
money. Oh, I
so
like that.
we're going to go into the joy. It's not
We
even
should
the joy of
enjoy
money.
money,
Everybody has the joy of
truthfully.
money.
It should
I mean,
not
that's
be
not how
Some
to
people
do
have the
joy.
joy of no money.
Yeah, the pain of no money versus the joy of money. So I would say learning the joy of money is not really that hard. You know, we all pretty well got that down.
Yeah, that's
but
easy.
The
right?
joy of investing to get money is a little bit tougher.
Yeah, that sounds like an oxymoron.
Which is funny because, like, I think most people have to say the same thing, like, about work. Like, there's not many people who enjoy working, but there are people who have a job that they do enjoy working. Whether or not that provides them enough money for their life or not is a whole nother situation, right? But, like, I think it's funny that she feels like it's an oxymoron when I feel like that's just how it should be. Like, we should have enjoyment in figuring out how to be able to be okay. But I think most people, even I in my past, have, like, felt like it's stressful. It's hard. It's difficult. It's not fun. It's confusing and overwhelming, especially emotionally for me, and I'm sure other very emotional people outside of women. Like, I know that everyone has emotions, but some people learn much younger to be able to handle them around certain things better, right? Whether they're forced to or it's just natural to them. And so I just think that, like, I wish there was a place where once you leave your parents' you could go in and they just emotionally help you through learning how to deal with finances and money. Because, like, I know there's so many people in the world, me being one of them, where, like, they think they have what they need, right? Like, my parents talked about investing, they talked about budgeting, they talked about it, but they never showed it to me. That was not something they actively did in their daily life. They did not budget. They did not save. They did not invest the way that, like, and they didn't show us if they did. And they always said we were broke. They always said we were poor. We can't afford this. We can't afford that. We don't have money for this. We don't have money for that. So it's like, I don't know where that was if they were doing that. In fact, I was paying plenty of, like, the food bills and clothing and stuff and toys and things like that from the day I was 16. So, like, I don't know where the fuck they thought they were doing well. But they I don't know. They made it seem like they knew what they were doing, but I don't think they did. So, I think a lot of people grow up in that are much worse. And so they're much more used to feeling fear, feeling uncertain, feeling overwhelmed when it comes to this. So I definitely understand. But I don't feel like it should be like that. I feel like there should be a place where we could communicate together, and I hope to build that. I hope to be able to build. I'm working on it. That's what this is all about. Just, like, making it normal to research, making it normal to listen to podcasts like this and kind of be a community and a group as we do so you don't have to do it alone.
That's a lot tougher in that case, but we'll try to make it not an oxymoron. We'll try to make it so that it's like, yeah, this is really cool. I can do this.
I think that what I've been learning so far is that there are elements of things necessary to invest well that are interesting to me. For example, the research part of it. I like reading. I like learning about what's going on in the world. I like knowing the news. Those are all things that are necessary in order to choose a company wisely, which I didn't know before. I mean, I knew kind of that you're supposed to do that, whatever. Right. But now I can think about it in a way that's accessible to my life. Although I said last time that I haven't downloaded the Barron's app, and I still haven't. I intend to. App. You should remind me.
I think the reason that
it's
so kind of overwhelming to think about, doing the reading, doing the keeping up on the news, is that we don't realize that investing isn't this big generic thing. It's actually really, really focused on what Charlie Munger's been saying, which is those parts of the world that you're capable of understanding. And when you start to narrow it down to the things that you're actually interested in already, things become a lot more coherent.
And really interesting. I think people get really overwhelmed. Like, even I did in the beginning. Like, the first thing you think is like, oh, I need to know how Google works. I need to buy into Google. I need to NVIDIA, and, like, I got to be a part of Tesla, and da-da-da-da-da. And the truth is, like, I don't know shit about those companies. I couldn't tell you how they function at all. Like, so those are not within my circle of competence. But I know makeup. I know makeup pretty well. I know, like, some of the history of where makeup comes from and how it was created. I know how people can easily produce makeup brands these days. Like, there's lots of companies who, like, mass produce makeup, and so you just contact them and you're like, I want to make a brand. This is, like, what I want. And then you go and you do some testing and whatnot. You gotta pay for it all, but, like, still. I know clothes. I know about the fast fashion industry. I watch specific smaller businesses and companies that, like, I can't wait to have enough money to buy their stuff, because even though it's a little more expensive, like, I know their whole point is to reduce fast fashion. Their goal, like, there's this one lady I watched where she even bought she was having trouble with, like, Shein and other companies, like, steal her patent brand and, like, try and sell it, and she finally got the lawsuit to go through, and they had to send her all the clothes that they had made and were trying to sell that with her patent. And so she's like, but they were terrible, like, clothing. It was not good stuff. And so instead of just throwing it away or trying to sell it herself, what she did is she hired 2 other designers, and they designed together 2 to 3 different dresses, and then she sold those dresses off and sold the patents to whoever wanted, like, whoever was, like, on her YouTube and stuff. And that is the way we fix fast fashion. We fight other brands from stealing the patents that you make, and then when you get that clothing, you find another way to use it and to make money from it and to provide for, like, the situation that you're in. Like, I love that shit. I don't really enjoy fast fashion so much. I like seeing brands moving away from that and moving away from needing to change fall, spring, summer. No, we don't need that. A shirt's a shirt. All right. We don't, like, if you're going to make a shirt and you want to put a different print on it, like, just don't make it right away. Like, have it I love the idea that you can have, like, the ideas to make something and have a company who, like, only makes them when somebody wants it. Not that you're going to have a storage of 50 socks. Like, I like that a lot. So that way people are only buying the things that they actually want. And, like, even if you have the idea out there, if no one wants it, then they, like, it's not already made. It's just an idea on a page. It's not, like, actually a product that's just sitting there getting old. I love the way that I love old jeans. Like, they do not make jean jackets and stuff the same way. The products are not the same, and so I love vintage jeans. Like, I know these are the things, like, I know about and how they used to make stuff like this, and so, like, that's my area of expertise. So you gotta, outside of that, like, a new area of expertise I'm getting into that I'm really enjoying is anime and cards, and so I'm learning about those companies. I'm doing the research. You guys have seen me be on here looking into Hasbro, looking into Nintendo, looking, like, into these different companies and learning more about them, reading their annual reports, reading like their all the stuff that they put out on their webpage and what they're saying they're doing. So it's like, that's the research you got to do. And sometimes that part isn't always the funnest part, but if you enjoy learning about that company, you will enjoy, especially if you're autistic or something, you know, like, if you have one of those things where you really enjoy getting into it, you will enjoy it.
You're not just reading everything. You're reading for content in those areas that you're interested in. Mm-hmm. You know, what are you passionate about? You know, what do you love doing? And what do you feel like you've got talents in? And where do you like to spend your money? And what do you do to earn it?
Where do you spend your money? Yeah.
What do you want to know more about? Yeah, what kind of fascinating?
If I'm going to spend time reading things.
If you're into plants.
Exactly.
Because that's time that's taken from something else. We all don't have enough time.
There's so many companies about plants. Flower, I don't really believe in supporting, like, flower growing stores and stuff, but if you really love picking up flowers every single week to have in your home, like, check out different types of, like, flower companies. There's so many of them. Flower growers, seed companies, there's pot companies, soil companies. There's so much out there, guys. Like, you can put your money towards the things that you support. You can find those good companies. They are growing. They have to. There's more of us here. So we are in a capitalist society. People are buying stuff all the fucking time. All you have to do is figure out what you like, what you want to learn more about, and where you already put your money. And when you get all those together and you can find a few companies, hold on to them, really learn about them, really dig in, take some time. It's really fucking awesome, I promise you. Like, I started like 3 years ago, but I've more intensely started over the last few months, and I enjoy it more now than I have over the last 3 months. I enjoy it more now over the last 3 months than I have for the last 3 years. So, really dig in. Nice. Photon Charizard got second place.
Especially if you're working a full-time job and you want to, like, have a life and have kids and whatever else is going on with you. Maybe exercise twice a week. Mm-hmm. The time you spend on investing stuff feels like time away from
Mason other things. 97,903.
Mason.
RVSTWAHI.
What is that? Is that cat? Is that a cat? Is it raising its paw like... That's fucking cute as hell.
can I just integrate it into what I'm already doing? Like, I like to read the news, so I can just look at the news from a more...
I don't like reading the news. That's another thing.
Okay.
You got to figure out what you do and don't like. I don't like reading the news, and so I've been trying to figure out another way to to listen to the news. I listen to a couple people
Maison
on
97,903
YouTube. Hold on.
Said, arms are very tight. Photon Charizard said, repeatedly booping Leonos.
Boop, 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 boop. But yeah, like, I don't like reading the news. I honestly
Maison
don't. I don't like watching the main news either. It's not my favorite thing.
Said, nearly torn my forearm.
Better keep those forearms strengthened. So, like, I've been looking into alternative ways of listening to the news. Right now, it's YouTube. I have 2 to 3 people that I listen to. And I'm still always looking for better people who really pay attention. I actually recently heard of a lady who left the main news industry, and so I haven't taken the time to look into her, but she might be somebody that I'm going to, like, turn to and start listening to as well. And then on top of that, I've joined 2 they send me an email with, like, a shortened, like, what's happened over the week or what's happened over the last day. I have not been listening. I'm really bad about going to my email. I'm trying to get better at it. I feel like that will be the best way for me, but I haven't been successful. So a big thing is recognizing what is the best way for me
Maison
to take in this information.
97,903
How can I do it?
Said,
with
would you rather eat a matter baby or a baby goat?
What did you say about eating babies? A matter baby? I don't want to be eating babies at all. I only say that as a joke. It's a joke when I say I want to. It's a full-on joke.
Okay, like, add that to my nightly news reading. That's very simple. It doesn't take any extra time because I'm already doing it.
Well, we even make it easier. I think at some point you start to realize, wow, there's a relatively narrow number of companies and industries that I should be thinking about, because otherwise I'm going to be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So I'm going to narrow it down to a group of things that I should be thinking about. And then what my reading and sort of watching the news and that sort of thing involves is basically looking for an event that's happening in one of those areas.
Mm-hmm.
The key word here is event, because we're basically Mr. Market controls the price of everything. And he's pretty rational and puts the price pretty much at the value in the long run. But in the short run, events happen which create a lot of emotion. They increase short or long-term uncertainty dramatically. And when it's just short-term uncertainty, you think that, these really smart guys from Harvard and Wharton that are managing all this money, you'd think they wouldn't be that upset by it. It's a short-term problem.
But they do.
Whatever.
They get super, because their portfolios matter.
The Arab Spring in Egypt.
Has to look positive all the time.
If there's a big problem with the cotton crop worldwide, then Georgia will plant cotton. So if you realize that it's a relatively short-term phenomenon of a year or so, you'd think that it wouldn't change anybody. Nobody would panic about it because everybody's in it for the long run.
They do
But
panic.
they're not. These hedge fund guys and these mutual fund guys are mostly in it for a month or 2 months or 3 months. They're all momentum investors. And if the momentum of that stock starts to go down because of increased...
And this was 10 years ago. You guys got to remember, this was like 2015, 2016 that they posted these ones, I think. So, like, that was then. Even more now, in today's age, short term, as short as a day. People are in a stock for a day now. Like, that is becoming more common. Like... short
Maison 97,903
investing has become super big. It's pretty much just
like
gambling, but it's gotten really, really bad. I think the average short now is, I should probably Google it without just assuming, but I think the average short now is less than a day. I'm almost positive. Let me double check that real quick. Let's see. I'm pretty sure it's less than a day. Okay, the stock has plummeted between 5.5 and 10 months. This is a massive shift from 5 to 8 years. Maybe I thought I heard that somewhere where that was shorter, but it is getting much shorter now. I wonder, let me see. I heard people are... Let's see. I asked it a very specific question. No, it's 5 to 10 months. Okay. High-frequency traders and algorithm bots. These computers generate massive amounts of daily volume and frequency, hold stock for only seconds or minutes to capture tiny prices. Day traders, active traders who intentionally buy and sell. So I know those are going up and up and up. But individual investors are doing 5 to 10, which is still a lot less than like the few years that they should be holding. So yeah, just short trading has become way, way, way more common. It's way more normalized, and it's honestly not the best way to make the most money. It's easiest way to lose money. So it's just how it works. It can't be. It is. Okay, it is.
Certainty, even in the short term of like 6 months to a year, that stock is going to get treated like it's got a disaster that's never going to be fixed, and they're all going to get out. And the price will go from $45 to $15 in 6 months.
Yeah.
And so that's the sort of event that we're looking for. If, let's say,
so we can
cotton
buy in
t-shirts
cheap.
happen to be,
We want to buy
if you happen to be
cheap.
in the clothing and stuff, then cotton t-shirts are in the ballpark of being in your canyon, in your area that you have expertise.
And so many people.
So that's all. We're capable of understanding cotton t-shirts. We like the clothing industry. We've got this big thing going on.
Who doesn't like
in
clothing?
Egypt.
Maison 97,903 said, I'm older than Google, not like this, not like this, not like this.
You're older than Google, is that what you said?
Maison 97,903
yeah, you're younger.
Said, younger.
Yeah, you're younger than Google. I was going to say, you're not older than Google. That's not possible. I'm older than Google. Actually, how old is Google? Maybe I'm not. Maybe we were born around the same time.
Maison 97,903 said, 2005 it was made.
Yeah, I'm older than Google. Yep. I'm older than Google. You're younger than Google. I'm older than Google. Okay? Let's just... Oh, okay. Let's move on.
And they come out in the news and they say, hey, we're being affected by this. And you happen to read that. You go, oh, boom, that's me. That one I understand, and I know something about this industry, so now I'm going to start learning about that business.
So that's a good way
I'm older than Bitcoin, too.
Pointed towards certain companies.
That's how you get pointed, yeah. That's exactly how you get pointed. And we've got some other clever little tricks to get pointed as well. But it starts with the idea that you kind of have a part of the market that you are comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So like when I first started off, I was all into guns, Harleys.
Oh yeah, guns and motorcycles.
Yeah, guns and Harleys, man. I thought guns, Harleys,
Guns
and
and
cruise ships.
I never got into the guns and
Cruise ships.
Yeah, I know. This is
Land of
She's
Norway.
like-
this is pre you, by the way. Yeah, this is pre all that too.
Oh, this is his daughter.
just
Don't
when
forget that.
became moving cesspools of disease.
Exactly. This is before we knew, and
That's so true, and it's
the
getting
reason
worse.
I was into
It's
those
so funny that they're saying this a moving cesspool of disease, and like literally this year we're having the hantavirus happening because of a cruise ship. So it hasn't changed; it's gotten worse. It's the same thing, even 10 years ago.
because those all had something to do with my life, So I'd been in the military, and so I understood guns, and I loved riding my Harley, so I understood motorcycles, and I was a river guide, and so I understood cruise ships.
Right.
You understood cruise ships.
Maison 97,903 said, I'm older than the Bitcoin as well.
Yay! You're older than it. Congratulations. Feel a little old now. No, we're young forever. Young for life.
Seeing tiny little boats in the Grand Canyon.
Yep, because all the time we'd go down there, we'd all sit around the campfire, the guides, when nobody was
Maison
listening. We'd go, "Someday I'm gonna be on a cruise."
97,903 said, 2009 it was created.
Dang. Oh yeah, that makes sense. I was in high school. Yeah, I remember that. Weird. Oh my gosh, it's almost been 20 years.
Cruise ship. And they're gonna take care of my meals.
Somebody else will cook for
Somebody
me.
else will row the boat.
Somebody else will handle the latrine.
Exactly. And then I started to realize, wow, they do the same thing I do. They just do it on a bigger boat. I do
Yeah.
mine with 6 people. They do theirs with 4,000. But it's essentially the same gig. Is you're going to cool places and you're taking people on this adventure, and you got to feed them and you got to take care of them, and you're a guide. So I grokked cruise ships.
You're correct.
There's that word again. So
Him using grok.
and so you can discover that you really know a lot more about the world than you think you do when you start digging in. I've had lots of people who
You do. We all
have jobs
do.
where they thought they didn't have anything to do
Video
with the investing world.
games,
People think of investing world as Goldman
computers.
Sachs or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Card games.
Yeah, they don't realize that if they're a school teacher,
Animes,
there are
TV
companies that compete with your
shows.
public school. K-12 education competes with your public school, and it's a public company, and you could buy stock in it if you think it's a good
12K
company.
education.
And if you happen to be a university professor, then you may not realize that there are companies that compete with that university,
12K.
like Apollo Group or ITT Educational, doing adult vocational education is a competitor. So you got
Apollo Group.
almost.
So
there's
if I'm sitting here not realizing that, how would I go about starting to learn what kind of companies I may know more about than I even realize?
Well, I think you do the 3-circle exercise.
Right.
I think you sit down and you say, this came from Jim Collins.
What do I
at
like?
Stanford,
Maison
in the book
What I spend
Big
my
Corp,
money
talks about how these guys
903
who are running big
said, 73,673.50 USD it's worth for now.
Oh yeah, you should have. There was a one point where it was like worth, I think almost twice as that, at one point. But then it dropped heavily from that. I guess maybe it's gone back up close to that now.
corporations that are sort of not doing well, sat
like
down
5, 10
and
years
figured
ago?
out what they could do to become great.
No,
And they did what's called the 3 circle exercises. Basically,
like 2019,
what are we
I
passionate
think.
about? What are we capable of
So
being the
less than
best in the
10
world
years.
at? And how would we make money doing
6
that?
years ago.
And Jim tells a story about his wife looking at this thing. And you know this because I did this
7.
with you when you were a kid. Is
Maison
to think, what do you love?
97,903 said, "It's worth 50k in the UK."
Damn. Yeah, don't buy one of those. Everyone, who buys 1 Bitcoin anymore? Nobody. We buy percentages of Bitcoins.
What do you think you could really be good at? And don't worry about the money, because if you put those 2 together, the money will come. And,
Right.
and Jim Collins writes about his wife, who read this about businesses and said, honey, I think that that I'm passionate about the triathlon, and that I think I've got the talent to be the best in the world at it. And if I'm the best in the world at it, the money will follow. I'll get a Nike sponsorship.
Right.
And based on these 3 circles, that's in my 3 circles. I want to go do that. And Jim said, man, honey, I'm 100% behind you. 4 years later, she won the Ironman in Hawaii.
Damn.
I mean, it's incredible when you start to realize that listing things in all 3 of these circles can drive you, not only what you might
Straight
already know
to-
about, but to what you might really want to be doing in your life. I mean,
Right.
Yeah, I don't love that system. I think it's extremely simplistic, and there are very few amongst us who are fortunate enough to love the thing that we're very good at, or to be very good at.
I think the thing is, though, is that like I'm decently good at running. I'm actually really good at running when I'm trained. Running and painting, drawing, and the thing is, though, is that like I don't know what to do with it. Even though like I know I'm good at those things and I enjoy them, like I don't know what the fuck to do with that shit. Like I'm like, how does that fit into this world? So like, I try. It's not like you need to. A part of my art goes into streaming, goes into doing this. Like I get to make thumbnails, and I get to imagine what like I want my stuff to look like, and I've been slowly moving that way, and I'm really slow with it, and I kind of like that pace, and I'm sure I could do other things if I'd ever finish a piece, but I don't ever finish anything because I'm like, good enough.
That's the thing that we love.
well, there's
So
that.
I don't think there's a lot of overlap there a lot of the time. But I think it can, maybe it's still a good exercise
Well,
as far
put it
as
like
like
this.
doing things in your life. Now, for investing, maybe it's different.
And I think it's just that simple, though. I think that's the problem, is that it is that simple, that if you leaned into those things that you really enjoyed or you're really good at, and because like you can always get really good at anything you really enjoy. It takes time, but you can. And anything that you are really good at, you can learn to love. Like I see plenty of people do that, so I think it can't be just that simple.
Right, because
I disagree
you
with
don't
her.
have to like choose one thing that you're going to do 100% for 10,000 hours.
Yeah, but it's not like one thing. Like no one chooses one thing. We don't just do one thing in life. You don't just eat. You know what I mean? You have to eat and brush your teeth and take a shit. Like there's multiple things. So I think it's just the simplicity sometimes makes people upset. Like her right now, she's like, it's irritating her to think, it's not that simple, but it is that simple. It is, and that's why like Warren Buffett and it was Charlie Munger actually when they made us listen to the same thing over and over again. It's like we need to pay attention to companies we can understand. We need to buy companies at a reasonable price with a durable and intrinsic moat with good management. It's that simple. Getting into each of those things in depthly is not as simple, but it's that simple.
Maison
I think it's the same thing.
97,903
What'd you do?
said, "Do you stick to one man or women for the rest of your life, or do you have multiple?"
I think most people have multiple. I think it's very rare that you only date one person, right? Like, and I think especially in today's age and stuff, we definitely have more than one person majority of the time. I'm not sure
Maison
it's always healthy to do that,
97,903
depending on how you're
said,
doing it, like if you're
"With
having
me
sex
one
with
only."
people. But like you still have to like meet people. You have to learn what you like. You have to communicate with people. So it's like you're going to meet somebody that you're gonna go out on a date with, and then not want to go out on a date with them anymore. So you're gonna have to meet another person, right? Like so that's more than one person. And there's so many people on the earth, and like the goal is definitely to find just one person and to stay with them for sure, at least for my book. But like, that doesn't mean that it will last, right? Like somebody could die. The person you pick could die. And then what? You're going to live the rest of your life alone? Would your partner,
Maison
would you want that for your partner?
97,903
That doesn't sound
said,
fun.
"I got someone that I like."
Yay! I'm glad you did. I hope it works out. I hope you're able to figure it out.
Hours and get incredibly good at it.
Right.
Like you're
Deserves
choosing
that.
a number of different things that you're interested enough to read about, and that's about it.
Right.
So it's a different kind of pressure.
Well, in all fairness, I would say that I think you should give this a little more credit than you are, because while we may not all be so lucky, as you said, to be really talented at what we really love,
Right.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I think we're here for a purpose. I think we're born with a kind of a dharmic purpose. The idea being that when you get on to what you're supposed to be doing in this life, you are A, talented at it because you were born to do it, and B, you're going to be passionate about it because you were born to do it.
I actually completely agree with that. I think it's very hard to figure that out. I
think sure it is.
Maisel 97,903 said, "If my wife dies, I wouldn't move or never go to their grave every day."
Aww. That's sad, but also romantic. I just think that, like, in the spirit of love, like, let's say, like, I had a partner and I died, I would not want them to be lonely. And if they found somebody, like, in life after me, like, I would want them to be happy. And not to forget me. I don't want them to forget me, right? Because I'm a selfish being. But, like, to remember our love through the new love. Like, to remember, like, yes, this is what it was like to have someone care for me. Yes, this is what it was like to have someone walk side to side and, like, do the hard things and to lean on. Because I don't want someone to feel like they have to be alone afterwards, that they have to suffer through life without me, especially if I died young or if I died through a terrible accident. Like, I want them to be able to find someone to be like, to be able to mourn with me if they need, right? Like, I don't know, like, because I wouldn't want to go through that experience. I'm not really sure what I would do, truthfully, but I don't think I would want, like, to be alone afterwards. I think I would want to find somebody who would understand my situation, so, and respect my past relationship, you know, find a good person.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I continually find fascinating is new businesses, companies that show up in my world, and I had no idea that industry even existed.
Oh,
you know, some, like, business-to-business kind of company
where
you would never think about it. One of my favorite examples is my friend who works at an
niche
insulation
things,
business.
really.
I've never in my life thought about insulation until she started running the business. And suddenly now I realize, of course, it's a massive business.
Yeah.
Of course it is. In every single house, every single building.
Yep.
I've just never thought about it. You know, it's not something that someone's going to write down on their 3 circles, running an insulation business.
Or they write down in the 3 circles the things that would lead you to the insulation business, maybe, but you don't know that they do.
So I really believe in the,
like, construction,
maybe you call it a curvy method of life, where you try to make the best decision you can at any given point,
and
that takes you hopefully to the next thing, and you got to follow your instincts in order to get there, and you'll feel it, I think, if you're if you're trying to be attuned.
I think so.
I 100,000% agree with that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So that's a long way.
And I'm gonna take actually a tone from this, because, like, I've always felt like I've naturally, not that I feel like I'm naturally good at it, but I've naturally pulled myself to being like somewhat of an influencer, but I never really enjoyed the way that I've seen other people do it. Like, I don't really like the idea of posting every single day. I know you have to get views and stuff, but everything about your life, and I try to do all that stuff, and it's a lot. It's really intense work. I've always seen it, like, I've always wanted to be more artistic. Like, the parts that I've seen about it, like, I've always wanted to, like, create, like, this image with, like, pink and, like, Sailor Moon-y and animation and, like, cute, like, these cute little, like, neon vibes. Like, I really like that a lot, and that's what I want to build look-wise. But I don't really want to do it, like, the way that people do, where, like, they're like, oh yeah, I have all these companies I work with, and, like, I'm like, well, do you like those companies? Are those companies doing good things? Like, you're encouraging people to buy them, so, like, are you buying them? Do you actually believe in them? And, like, is the product actually good? You know, like, there's all these questions I have around it. And so it's one of those things where, like, I don't want to become that type of, like, streamer or podcaster or influencer where, like, I'm just encouraging people to do, like, the most random things, you know, and I'm like, oh yes, you need this food company that brings food to your door so you don't have to buy groceries anymore or cook meals. And it's just, like, I fucking hate that. I'm like, I understand that some people may need those things, maybe for a short period of time or for a little bit, but I think one of the most relaxing things to me is being able to take the moment to put my headphones in, to listen to a podcast, to listen to learning a language, to listen to music, to maybe even not even putting anything in, just being in my own head, and then making myself some food. It's the most relaxing, and, like, and I get that not everyone's going to feel that way, but that's where I get to meditate a little bit. I get to take a break from, like, I'm standing, I'm not sitting, I'm moving around a little bit, I'm cleaning my area. Like, I feel comfortable there, and I feel like a place that's chill and hang out, like, it's my little space, right? And I think there's something to providing for yourself in that sense that we don't really do in today's world. And so I think it's actually really good for your brain to floss your brain with that kind of habits where you do these little things. Like, I don't think everyone, you shouldn't hire someone to clean your place if you have the money for it. But I think what a different, like, I get a sense of like accomplishment when I'm like, you know what, I hadn't cleaned like the living room for a few days, and then yesterday I picked it up and started the Karen and, you know, did a couple other things. And like after it's all done, I look at it, I'm like, yeah, like I get like a little boost of energy. I feel good about myself. I feel like accomplished a little bit. And I think people need those little accomplishments, because work at your real job where you're getting paid can be so overwhelming, and like there's not always like somebody praising you, and there's not always this sense of that you did a good job. And so I think like having those moments where you can make them for yourself, you know, like, oh yeah, I made a sandwich, oh the sandwich is so good, like that, there's something you get from doing those things. And I think that's one big reason why I'm getting into investing the way that I am, is because when I looked at it, I think what overwhelmed me in the beginning of doing investing is worrying about what happens after I put the money in. I'm like, how do I know it's going to be okay? How do I know this manager person is doing like the best for me? Like, do I have to get to know him? Like, why do I have to get to know this person I don't really want to get to know, or if I'm going to even like, you know? And then how many people am I have to go through that with to find somebody who's going to manage my money the way I want it to? And then on top of that, like, and then I started looking into what are they called? Index funds and stuff. And I'm like, okay, but these index funds are like a mash of like all these different companies, and someone or some bot or some code just decides this is no longer allowed to be in there and this one's going to be in here instead. I'm like, how do I know I like those companies? Where's that money going? What are they doing with that money? Like, I was really worried about that stuff, and that stuff really overwhelmed me. And so now I feel like I'm getting like a sense of accomplishment from like educating myself to this point, because like I know that whatever company I buy into, I'm gonna really believe in them. I'm really gonna be okay with like the money that I'm giving to them, and I'm gonna be really happy to see that like the company's doing well. And that's gonna give me, I'm like, yeah, like I supported that company. And I've met people who have bought into companies and then the company's failed, and they get a sense of grief. I see it in them. They're like, that really bothered. And they like 10, 15 years past, they're like, oh man, remember when I did? Like, that is painful. I don't want to do that. I don't. But like, if I do, at least I want to make sure that it's a company I really believed in. If I do experience that, I want to make sure I'm like, that man, it really is shitty, because that was a really good company. I don't see what the rest of the world didn't see in them, you know? Like, I want to be like, not feel grief or feel stupid around it. I want to know that I made the best decision with all the information I had, and give myself like a sense of support and like excitement. And I think those small things are really, really important to the everyday human and our mentality and our confidence, truthfully.
I'm saying I think the 3 circles is simplistic, but when it comes to investing,
I went off at a little tangent there. Sorry.
It can point you.
It can point you.
Right. And I think all the points you're making about what we do in our lives, you know, to get on Dharma being what you're born to do, sort of, and that kind of process that we go through, that, what do you call it? S-turning?
Yeah, I think about it like a curve, like a constant S curve. You're or like tacking in a sailboat, like you're always going in the wrong direction, but it's going to get you there eventually.
Exactly. Do you know Emerson actually said that, actually?
Oh.
Yeah, he said people are like boats tacking at sea. They're never going the direction they're actually going. Something like
exactly.
that.
There you go.
You know? And by the way, the other Emerson quote that I really love, which I'll butcher here, is that people are like ships. We're not built to sit in the harbor. We rot in the harbor. And I think that's valuable to think about in terms of investing, because a lot of times we don't get into investing because we're a little bit afraid of it. We're afraid to sail our boat out of our nice, safe little, you know, put your money into a diversified index.
I think we are terrified.
We're terrified of the high seas and what might happen.
And there's good reason.
And oh Lord, my boat's so small and the seas are so big.
There's good reason to be afraid of the high seas.
Yeah. Right. But the gift, the potential for you, the reward for going out there is gigantic. Not only in terms of the financial reward, but in terms of what it does to yourself, in terms of your own confidence in your own life.
Right.
I mean, it's massive. When you start to have great success as an investor, you start to realize, wow, I don't need to be in this horrible career that I'm in.
Right.
I will not, maybe I got to do another 3 years or 5 years, but after that, I'm done. I can do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, I can meet my obligations to my family, because I'm opening up this possibility of making good returns for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
By doing this. So
I want that.
Man, the upside is so huge.
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
There's just that little tiny hurdle of actually doing it.
Yeah. So we're going to try to get over that little hurdle. So let me start with something that's fundamental to this that Warren Buffett said in terms of getting over this hurdle.
Terrific fear.
That is the way he put this is that there are only 2 rules of investing. Rule number 1 is don't lose money. And rule number 2 is don't forget rule number 1. Now, most people at this point roll their eyes.
Yeah, it's a little trite. It's like, all right, fine, I get it. Don't lose money.
Yeah, so that's right there.
Thanks
saying,
for that advice. Like, I didn't know that already.
Right. Or why didn't you just tell me buy low, sell high? And you know, great, thank you for the great wisdom.
So
Except Warren Buffett is smart.
What I want to know about is why, first of all, I mean, you clearly think that that's important. Why do you think it's important?
Well, first, consider who's saying it. This is not a guy that messes around and jokes around and makes a lot of funny little statements that are cute. This guy goes really deep. And this statement is extraordinarily deep. And we need to unpack it. Basically, what he's saying is that when we're investing and looking at placing our money right now where we have it in cash into something else where there's more risk than cash, that the focus of that decision has to be on not losing money.
Okay.
It should not be on making money. Making money will be the inevitable byproduct of this process of knowing that you're not going to lose money on this.
I'm actually going to write that down. The reason. Rule 1 is don't lose money is so your mindset isn't stuck on the idea of making money. Making money is what did he sell? A buy set? No. What did he just say? Hold on one second.
Investment. Making money will be the inevitable byproduct.
Byproduct is a byproduct of rule 1. That's good. That's good.
Of this process of knowing that you're not going to lose money on this investment.
Yeah.
Okay. Now keep in mind that we're not talking about. Let me see. I don't want to lose money, so I'm going to go buy 30-year treasuries.
Right.
We're talking
we
about.
We don't want 30-year treasuries.
I'm going to make investments in the stock market, in buying businesses, and the focal point of my research into that business to make a determination of whether I'm going to buy it or not is going to be whether or not I'm going to lose money. So this is really huge. Monesh Pabrai talks about the Patel family, and Monesh is a fabulous investor. He runs his own fund and has about $1 billion under management and has a compounded rate of return in the 30% range.
$1 billion.
And he, at any particular time, might own 5 or 6 stocks.
Really?
Yeah, very, very focused investor.
Does he put a large amount of money into each one?
Yes. Right now, he's got 20% of his portfolio in one company.
Wow.
Right. So very focused investor. And by the way, this is fundamental to Warren Buffett's investing style. Charlie Munger's. Charlie owns 4 stocks right now. Warren Buffett has about 65% of his money in 4 stocks.
Yeah, I guess I find that so interesting and surprising because probably most
I wonder
people
what he has them in right
think
now.
of Warren Buffett as being this sort of like man on a hill who does his own thing and other people emulate it, but it's not quite the same. So it's interesting to hear about somebody else that has a huge amount of money under management and is still
see how many he owns right now.
Oh yeah, I can start going down the list. Like there's so many of these really good investors out there, but people don't know who they are. And but they are the guys who get long-term rates of return that are 20% and above. They all tend to invest in a similar kind of a style. And that style is to not diversify. They're very focused in their investing on just a few companies that they understand well right now, and that have big...
Apple, American Express, Bank of America, Coke, Chevron, Occidental Petroleum, Kraft Heinz Co., Maddie's Corp., Chubb Limited, and Alpha Inc., which is Google.
Durable competitive advantages. They like the guys who are running the company, and they bought them on sale. It's Charlie Munger 101, right? So what they all do, though, is they all focus on this rule number 1. And so I've, over the years, sort of come to call these guys the Rule 1 investors, right? Because they're so focused on this rule. And all of the amateurs out there who don't know about investing roll their eyes at the rule, thinking it's a trite little statement that's cute and not meaningful. It's anything but. It's absolutely critical to understand this is the focal point of the research. If I invest in this thing, what happens if things don't go well? That's where we're looking. Because if I can make sure that the downside is extremely limited, then occasionally I'm going to get the upside right. I'm going to be in a company where I hit the thing out of the park and I get the home run and big return. And if I'm good at this, I have that happen more often than not. But if I'm really careful about having none of the businesses that I invest in lose money, then I don't have to get it right that often. Just as an example, let's say
just like 10 times
I invested in 10
over your
companies,
life.
and 3 out of 10
I knew it.
just take off, and I double my money in a matter of a year or 2. And the other 7
yes, I do.
Don't just take off. Maybe I made a mistake in how I looked at it and so on. But when I discover that the story has changed from what I thought it was, I sell them and I don't lose any money. Then overall, my rate of return is going to be up. It's going to be up. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't lose money because the stock price didn't change?
The stock price didn't change. It didn't go down from where I bought it. not significantly, because I bought it at such a great price. And that's why Charlie Munger says, look, the first three things, understand the business, the moat, and the management team, those things, if you get them right, will give you a wonderful business. And in the long run, a wonderful business will take care of you. You'll be able to sell it for more than you paid for it.
Right.
Now, because
in
of
the
vicissitudes of life.
In the long run.
I feel very weird not playing that Charlie quote,
I know,
by
we
the
played
way.
it so many times.
It's a little like that's our security.
Anybody that's listened to us this far has probably got it memorized, so we're all right.
Yeah, I got to memorize.
But the vicissitudes of life can make it so that it doesn't turn out the way you thought it would. And therefore, you need to buy it with a big margin of safety. And Charlie and Manesh and I and all the investors like us try to buy those companies at 1/2 of what they're worth as a public company. 1/2 of what they should be priced at if the market wasn't worried about something. And when we do that, we have, more often than not, limited the downside risk substantially. That the down from here isn't very far down. We're down about as much as it's going to get. So if we step in on an investment that's gone from $45 where it was properly priced, that was actually the intrinsic value or retail value of the business, that's what it's worth, and the price has gone down to $15, most of the real risk has been taken out of owning this company already if whatever is making it go on sale is a short-term event.
Right.
So essentially you buy, you wait, and either you were right in your story and it goes back up to $45 and you triple your money, or you were wrong and it goes nowhere because that's the new real price of that company. And so you sell it for what you paid for it.
If you buy
Fair.
a stock and it roughly stays the same.
As long as you pay for a good price for it, though.
5 years.
Okay.
Something like that.
All right, so 5 years later, it's roughly the same. Do you consider that a win since you didn't lose money?
Yeah, that's a win.
Or is that just sort of like, all right,
No.
that was a neutral day?
That's a win. Because our rule is, there's one rule, don't lose money.
Don't
so
lose
if
money.
you are successful in applying that rule to a company, 5 years later you haven't lost any money on it, that's a win.
That's
Absolutely.
Even though conceivably you could have deployed that money into a company that was going to make money.
Right. So it's
Or maybe into a riskier company.
right. You could have.
But then you would have
but
lost
think
money.
of the value of this as sort of a psychological protection against the emotional rule of investing. The emotional rule of investing says that I don't know what I'm doing, so the moment that I buy a company, it will go down like a brick. And if I don't buy it, it'll go up like a rocket ship.
Oh, that's so true.
I'm the one who decides.
I'm the one who controls it.
and that's because I don't know what's going on. I don't know the value of the business. And so I'm all connected to the price. But if we're buying a wonderful business, which is the fundamental criteria, right, before we buy anything, and we're buying it with very low downside, we've really fulfilled the two obligations that we have as an investor in the Warren Buffett school, or what he calls the Graham and Doddsville School of Investing. We've really fulfilled that. So Manesh Pabrai says it his own way, right? Warren Buffett says there's two rules of investing. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget rule number 1. Manesh says, what I want is very low loss, keep my losses really limited if I lose, with a massive upside if I win. And essentially, if we're buying a company for 50% of what it's worth, that's a pretty massive upside. If you're right, it's going to go double your money.
And often you
in a
are when you
relatively
pick a
short
good
period of
company.
time, and if you're wrong, you can get out with a very small loss or no loss at all, or maybe even a little gain. This is
A
the great
little
secret of
gain.
investing. It's to me, it's just obvious. That's such the right way to invest.
But you have to
Because
do the
then you are
research,
buying
do the
low
math.
and hopefully selling high. But if you're wrong, you just sell it for the low that you
You
bought it
got to
for.
know what the value
Yeah.
is so you can buy
Do
it
you
at a
think
good
that having
price.
rule number 1 be a negative rule, don't lose money, versus do X, makes you feel limited?
No, I think it makes you feel smart. I think it puts your thinking in tune with the great investors of all time. Buffett, Munger, Graham, all of these guys. And what they all have said, and Buffett said clearly many, many times, is that optimism is the enemy of great investing results. So it's like, the whole secret, right? Like, put your attention on, it's all good. And,
Like the video, The Secret?
yeah, the video, The Secret. This is sort of, and like, the power of positive thinking.
Right,
and all
what
that.
you put your attention on grows.
Yeah, these
What you
guys
put your
are
attention
all
on
about
grows is so
wanting to
true.
see the big upside, but they're realists. They're very pragmatic investors, and so anybody that's ever worried about losing money when they're investing money, that's what you need to have, that gene in order to be a great Rule 1 investor.
What gene?
The one about I'm worried about losing money.
Oh.
If you've never felt that way, if you like to go roll the dice, if you're the kind of person that can put everything you own on red and spin the wheel, Rule 1's probably going to be too boring for you. And you need to just go out there and pray to God you come out a winner. But most
Go gambling.
Everybody
It's the same
that
shit.
I know worries about their money eventually. And that worry is a first step to getting on the trail of being a great investor. You should worry about the downside.
You actually use the fear. Because that fear is paralyzing in so many people. It's so much safer to
Yeah,
not
I agree.
put
It's
your
been
money in the
paralyzing
stock
for
market
me.
at all than it is to put it in any company in the stock market, no matter how much research you've done. In terms of how you feel, it feels so much safer.
I'm sitting here just thinking, it's been so long since I've sort of been, actually I've never been in that place in my whole
Yeah,
life.
maybe you're the wrong person to ask about that.
Because I didn't think about the stock market
Maybe
at all.
you're the wrong
right? I
person
didn't even
to
know what it was or anything about it. Our family doesn't come from that kind of money. And so when I started investing, it was an absolute fluke. I mean, it was like karma or something. Guy in the Grand Canyon takes me under his wing and I'm suddenly an investor a year later. And so I never had that step in the middle where, I had a lot of fear around investing because I never had any money and I never had a thought about investing it, the money that I didn't have. So I stepped in
It's
already
interesting, 'cause
loaded
I
up.
think most people are the exact opposite. They've accumulated some money, they've diligently saved, this is all the money that we have, and oh my God, what are you supposed to do with it?
Well, you're right. And I honestly, I've always thought that I had a huge advantage having everything that I own in a black rubber bag about 1 foot by 2 feet because there was no downside for me of going forward and learning this and going. So I never had the fear about it for a couple of reasons, actually. One of them was I didn't have any money anyway. I was already broke, so what can they do to me?
Right.
You know, I'm going to get broke.
That's how I feel right now.
I'm as broke as you can get. It doesn't get broker than that. So what's my downside? In effect, it's kind of like guerrilla warfare for money. You know, it's like if you got nothing, you're in a very powerful position. You just don't realize it. You have to use that as a way to motivate yourself and realize there's no down for you. Whereas people who do have money and have accumulated money and have a few $100,000, there's a big downside there. It's scary to think about, my God, I could lose this.
Right there.
It's your life's work right there. And often it's your life of not loving what you're doing that's represented by this money, that you want to get out of this life and get into this new life that you're going to really enjoy, and you're accumulating money for that. The last thing you want to do is lose it. So the idea that you're going to take control of this is much scarier for people with assets than it is for people without them.
Well, how on earth do people without assets invest anything when they don't have it?
Man, you're asking the right guy. I started with zero, you know? So you just accumulate.
I mean, that's everyone's problem. We all don't have enough assets.
That's so funny. That's so funny. Actually, one of the things, first off, is you got to, have a high yield interest rate thing. But, like, on top of that, you got to learn how to do puts and stuff. And I've learned that, and I'm going to be working on that shortly. But one of the big things is I'm still figuring out what companies I want to buy, which is important. So that way I know what price to buy them at. Because if you fuck up on your put, right, what you want is for it to buy the company at the price you would have bought it. Because that's the price you want to buy it at. So if you do it wrong, you could buy a company at too high a price. But if you do it right, one, you're going to get a little bit of money, or you're going to buy your company at the price you want to buy it at. And I got to be honest, I'm still learning it and still understanding it, so I can't tell you directly how that works. But I do know that Philltown hosts an educational weekend seminar that I've gone to and learned this from. And so I hope that you go and check his out, because he, like, honestly, as someone who barely understands all of this, I learned so much from that. I actually have all the notes. I've been saving them because once I find my companies, here's all my notes, not these ones. But here's all my notes from the weekend, and then I have what they give you. And then on top of that, I have, like, computer notes that I took, like, hand wrote the entire weekend. So I have them prepped and nearby and close to me, so that way when I have the companies that I do want to buy and I know what price to buy them at, I can just start doing those. So I'm super excited about that. Let's continue this.
Actually, there are some wonderful tools that you can use to grow assets relatively quickly.
Yeah, that's probably another subject.
Which we should talk about another time.
Let's stipulate that somehow, magically, people with no assets.
But that's exciting. I'm
I
excited
mean, I started
to
with
hear that
$1,000 in 5 years. I had 1.45 million. So
take notes.
I mean, and I'll teach you guys how you can do that down the road. But let's just stipulate you can do it.
Okay.
That there's a way to do that without taking super risk or anything like that. You're just going forward in a really comprehensive way and following the path that's been beaten. This is well-beaten path by Ben Graham and Warren Buffett, Charlie Munger. You know, Buffett didn't come from money, and he started with very little money and built the biggest fortune in the world. So there's a well-known path, and we'll teach you how to do that.
There is a thing, though, you should know that he's saying that Charlie Buffett and Charlie and Buffett, Warren and Charlie, whatever, those guys, even though they came from a little money, both of their parents were already in the financial industry. They were working in that industry. So they did have some understanding about that, some education from their parents. And I think that's why they actually got into it.
Stipulating that. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
What does stipulating mean anyway?
It means that we agree to it, but
Stipulating.
not necessarily that it's true.
Yeah.
Is that what it means?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think it's true. Did you just tell me you agreed to it even though it's not true?
No, it's not necessarily that we agree that it's true. It could be true, or it could not be true. We have not discussed the trueness of it.
Oh.
We're just agreeing to it now for the purposes
So
of our
although
discussion.
I'm saying it's true,
Right.
I am saying neither
true
trueness
nor
or non-trueness.
false, or
False is a
Right.
good word for non-trueness, yes.
Yes.
so we've stipulated.
We've stipulated.
Well done, counselor. And so now we are going to move forward on this
Counselor.
notion that
Well,
what does it
counselor.
really mean to say you invest with a focus on not
That we
losing money?
stipulated.
Okay.
Yeah, because I hear a negative. I hear don't do something, and that makes me have a feeling of, okay, why not? And it's a fear-based feeling, however subtle. I mean, this is not me. I'm not afraid of those words. It's just a sense of don't do something. There's a rule there. There's a barrier.
Well, it's almost as if
as
you're
opposed to do something. Go forth. Go
forth and make money.
buy low and sell high. I'm so excited.
The secret of investing is to make millions.
Exactly. I'm so thrilled.
What a brilliant
Let me do
podcast
all
this
of
is.
that.
Yes,
Brilliant
making millions is
But
the
instead,
secret.
it's just like don't lose money.
Right, which is a real downer. That's what you're basically saying. It's a
fair.
downer.
It's
Yeah.
a little bit. It's a little bit of like a barrier, is how I would describe it.
You know why I think you
Because
describe
I
it that way?
don't want to lose money.
You don't want to think about it like that. It's scary for you to think about doing something where losing money is an actual real possibility.
Losing money
think
is
that's the
always a
problem.
possibility.
That's everyone's
I think
problem.
that's another thing. Is like it's funny that he's saying like you don't want to think about something. I'm curious if he'll continue here on that, but that he's saying like like that you're scared of not losing money, but you are losing money. Like if you don't have the money that you're saving already in an account that's getting you at least 3% back, like you're losing money. You're losing 3% every time, like everything that you save. And that's just because of inflation. And then on top of that, like if you spend money on something you don't need or something you could have waited to get when it's cheaper or whatever, like you're wasting money on something that you could have had invested that would have been making you money. So you're always losing money unless you're creating an income that's making money on your money, which kind of sucks to think about. And that should be the fear that pushes you forward. That's the fear that pushes me
So
forward.
really kind of what you're saying is, don't tell me that's the rule of investing, because like you want to put your hands over your ears and la 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 la, and put your money someplace without really thinking about it.
I want to be inspired, not don't lose money.
Okay, so you'll go off and you'll invest in real estate or a bond because you feel better. I don't have to worry about losing money. That's not even on the table. The losing money part.
Well, I don't know about real estate, but maybe a bond.
Okay, well, with a bond, let's say.
Real estate.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
you're losing
we
money
gotta,
on real
let's say
estate.
that is a fairly significant
There's
emotional
so much
hurdle
money in
that we've
there.
got to get over, and we don't need to get over it by pretending that you can't lose money when you're investing in the stock market.
No, exactly. And I think a lot of people do deal with it by pretending.
Oh, so do I. And I think the
I
whole
think we do that
financial...
in many areas of our lives.
Oh,
we
man.
feel the fear, and it's painful to feel it, and so we avoid it
Yeah.
immediately without ever even going through those steps of, oh, there's fear, I therefore will avoid it. You don't even notice that part. It's just immediate,
Yeah, I guess she's right.
Exactly, like
that's
right now.
That's my voice version of it.
And right now people are going, I don't even want to listen to this podcast because they might talk me into investing my own money. I want to just give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Give it to someone else.
Give it to someone else.
And I'm not going to open the monthly reports. I'm not going to open them because
You need to open the monthly
Please God, let it be
reports.
okay.
yeah. And so we
And
live with this.
sometimes it is, and sometimes it
Oh my
isn't.
gosh, sometimes it's not so okay for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not going to be very fun
20 years
if
is a long
you're a
time,
baby boomer
but-
and you have not wanted to deal with this.
Right.
And now
And
you're
now
in that
you're
40% market
50,
drop and you got to get your money.
60
I'm not a
years
baby
old.
boomer, but I don't want to deal with it. And everyone I know doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah. And
We're
Yeah.
so busy
I don't wanna
doing
deal
other
with it.
stuff that it's like it's another thing to do. / it's a scary thing to do.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And those two
That's
things are
another
enough
thing
to
to
not
do,
do it.
and
Yes. And so
it's a
my
scary thing to do.
lovely
Yeah, that's so
agent,
true.
Bonnie Solo, who I just adore and love, and who has, you know, read my books and loves what I do and trusts me totally, and she does not want to learn to invest because she's
I
got
get
a
it.
busy life. She's got other things she wants to do, and
Yeah.
she would just please rather have somebody take the responsibility for her money.
That's what it is. It's the responsibility.
Yeah. Well, there's a
Yeah.
couple problems with that. That don't have
don't want
anything
the
to do with
responsibility.
making money, actually. One
Yeah.
of them is that your money is a vote for a
Yeah.
certain kind of world.
It is.
How you spend it and how you invest it are
I agree.
encouraging some companies, and because you don't invest it or spend it there, they're
Mm-hmm.
discouraging other companies.
Yep.
True.
Those are really critical votes. And interestingly enough, you take
Critical.
all of our little guy money, all of the money that we have from the teachers and the guys who work and the lawyers and the people who are working in
Controls
unions,
majority of
put it all
the-
together, that's the vast majority of the money in the stock market.
Yes, it
The
is.
biggest investors in the stock market
Yeah, it
are
is.
the California Teachers Pension Fund.
Yep.
So it's little guy money that big guys on Wall Street are
California
investing.
teachers,
Okay,
you
now
could
here's
be
my
controlling
idea.
the whole stock
that
market,
when
but
you
instead
give your
it
money to a Wall
401k
Street guy,
401k
you are handing your
brokers.
money over
Just
to someone who
saying.
doesn't share your values
Again.
necessarily. They have their own value set, or they don't have a value set when it comes to money. Jim Cramer says it's completely wrong to tie your moral values to your investing. Completely wrong to do that.
What?
And many people don't want to hear
Jim
about how
Cramer
you should
says
be thinking
that?
morally when
Fuck
you're
Jim
investing money.
Cramer.
I love the idea that we're taking moral advice from Jim Cramer.
Fucking Jim Cramer.
Well,
I
fair
don't
enough.
even
I
know
like
who
Jim.
he is.
I know Jim, and I tell you, he's a nice guy. But he doesn't think that morals and money should be said in the same sentence.
Yes, they should.
Yeah, and
yes, they
I
should.
just shrink back at that because to me, our money represents a vote that
Yeah, it
you've
does. Mm-hmm.
earned to place into the world and say, I vote for this kind of grocery store, not that kind of grocery store. I vote
Yep.
for this kind of food, not that kind of food. I mean, for example, when you go to Walmart
for
and you
this
buy
kind of
pork,
life, not
you've
that
just
kind of
voted for the moral code that Walmart places on its pork suppliers.
Yep.
And its moral code is very simple. Give us pork at the cheapest possible price.
And that's
we
not
will
a
keep
good
squeezing
moral
you
code.
forever to get that price down. And as a result of that squeezing, Smithfield Foods, who supplies pork to Walmart, decided, gosh, the only way we can meet this incessant demand for lower prices for pork at Walmart as their supplier is to stick hogs into a container, a metal bar container the size of a coach seat. And you got a 300-pound hog in this coach seat for her
That's so
entire
sad.
life.
That's so
I don't
sad.
want to hear about
No,
it.
we're
It's
going to
so
talk about it.
horrible. It's so
Yeah,
horrible.
we
We're
gotta
going to
talk
say this
about it.
because
You have to
when
hear
you
it.
don't pay attention to your money is being voted for heinous crap like that.
Yep.
It's being
So
voted by
true.
your fund manager for
Fucking
those
hate
companies.
buying
It's
from
saying,
Walmart,
yay,
but-
Walmart, yay, Smithfield,
You
go for
broke.
it, yeah. Go for the dehumanizing activities that you have going on in your pig shop, in your industrial pig plant, that is dehumanizing the people who work there. They have to deal with the fact that they're poisoning this pig. They're sticking it full of antibiotics to keep it alive, and it's got sores on its body, and it's in pain and suffering and misery for its
worse
entire
than that
life.
too,
And
honestly.
you're doing that to that pig on purpose. Okay, and your money that you're not paying attention to is being invested in those companies who perpetuate that inhumane activity.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's such an important reason, and it is still not enough. I hate to say it, because I utterly agree with you.
All right, then let me make it enough.
But it's not enough for me to risk my entire imaginary nest egg that I don't have. If I had one, it's not enough for me to risk it. I hate to say that, but it's true. Like, I'll go buy my eggs at, a good place, and I don't buy the poor stuff, and that's the extent
That's not the same.
of what I can do on that.
And you continue to let these guys vote for these guys.
Yep.
You let them vote for this stuff in the world while you're against it, which makes you a hypocrite.
It does.
It is.
You become a moral hypocrite, and you're not alone. We all have that to some degree, but consider the level of hypocrisy where you're saying, this is horrible. I can't even think about the torturous thing these people are doing. It's completely wrong. Oh, and by the way, I own the company.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's not the worst. It's not possible.
I would never
You can't
own
do
Walmart.
that.
I would never
You can't be that person who owns that company. You own Smithfield and Walmart.
People can be hypocrites. It is possible. That's why there's a word for it.
This just kills me.
I know it's horrible.
What kills me is you're sitting there going, no, I don't care enough to
Is
change
it important enough to risk your entire life savings for
Yes.
it? That's the question.
Of course it is. Even if you had to, and obviously we're not talking about you taking more risk in the market. Rule number one investing, to put this in context, gives you higher rates of return with less risk than you're taking in your mutual fund.
Yep.
So the very thing you're putting your money into to avoid the risk that you're talking about is riskier than the investing strategies that I use.
Yep.
Riskier.
Riskier.
And yet, because you don't know that.
It's because that's right. It's because you don't feel confident.
So let me just say this to all
It's
of
not
our
your
listeners out
knowledge,
there.
it's the way you feel.
Your values matter. Go to a Whole Foods store, look above the door, going into a Whole Foods store, and there John Mackey placed these words: values matter.
I think it might only be at that one store that we just went to. But it was pretty awesome.
Well, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because they're talking both in terms of like getting a good deal when you go in there, and also your moral value system, your character matters.
And obviously that's part of Whole Foods' marketing
Buy
system
local.
is to make everyone who walks in there think, oh, I'm doing
Pay more for your stuff.
Yes.
I know that sucks,
But you are doing
invest
it. So,
in better
so they've got this values matter, and
That's
I
what we
love
can
that
do.
because they do matter.
Not just about
because what
voting
you
when
vote for
we
gets
vote
stronger in the world. What you vote for with your money
for
gets stronger
congressmen.
in the world. And
It's
not
the
putting
way
your
we
attention on it
put
doesn't
our money into
make
the
it
world.
change. It doesn't
It's
make
a
it go
bigger
away.
vote.
Right.
It's a stronger vote.
It is. Now, let me give you one more little thing that I think, and you don't have to agree with me, but I think that you reap what you sow.
You do.
I think there's karma in the world. And I think that
I
idea
agree.
goes across all cultures. That when you put something out into the world, when you're supporting something in the world, that the fruit of that something, the crop that gets harvested, comes back and visits you in some way. It visits you generations deep. And so if you believe that, then it's not going to be quite so easy to just say, I'm okay with being a hypocrite. Because what you're basically saying is, okay, God, come on back and kick my butt in some way in the future for this bad stuff that I'm doing
He
today.
clearly believes in Jesus, by the way.
I'm with you on that. I think that there's a third way.
That avoids the butt kicking?
No, the ways that you've described are give your money to some other person who may invest it then in companies opposite to your own values.
Right.
Or invest it yourself in companies that follow your own values.
Right.
The
Follow your
third way
values.
is not to do anything and to put your money maybe in a CD or a T-bill.
Okay, which, by
And
the
I
way,
think
the
that that's
CD,
the way
the
that a lot of people go.
the CD supports a company. So you
Yes,
got to
it
scratch
does.
that one off the list. All you can do maybe is put your money in a T-bill or sit it in the bank. And if people want to go that way, God bless them, because they're in the very, very small percentile of people who will ever retire if they go that way. So there's your other squeezy part.
Man.
It's going to push you back and make you deal with this. Because you either have to invest hypocritically and reap the bad karma, or you're going to have to learn this, or you're going to have to take really low investment results and hope to God you make a lot of money in your career, so you never have to think about it at all.
You occasionally tell people to invest in indexes if they don't want to, indices, if they don't want to do their own investing.
Yeah, well, I
How
mean,
does that follow with this?
Okay.
it's the one alternative.
Okay,
and
fair enough.
outside of
We'll end
that.
on this one.
Oh no, we're ending.
I've ducked that one a little bit just to be nice, because people who don't want to invest, or I don't want to just leave them with the and you're damned if you fire and brimstone. You're going to hell because you're a hypocrite.
Fuck
There
you.
go. So I'm going to pass on
Fuck you,
defending that
hypocrites.
excessively. It's just an out. But I'll tell you that we started this podcast by talking about
agree.
Warren Buffett's rule number
I feel
one
like
and rule
it's
number
not
two,
too.
and we're going to have to come back to that and really get into it, because we wandered off into the weeds of values, which ultimately are not the weeds. Ultimately, your values and having strong character are fundamental to being able to do the kind of investing we do.
Extremely
Let's get some
fundamental.
more into that.
Yeah,
next time.
I agree with that. That's what I'm starting to learn from our discussions. Is that there's
Values,
a lot of,
morals.
It's kind of like personal psychology in a way of like
Personal
dealing with your own fear,
psychology.
dealing with your own confidence in your own decisions and in your own research and in your own opinion of what's happening. That stuff is hard. It's
It
hard
is, yeah.
in many contexts, and it's particularly hard when you're about to put money on the line that can affect your entire life.
Yeah.
And there's so much just personal.
Character. It's character
maybe that's a
issues.
good word for it.
It's really character. It's self-knowledge. It's who you are. It's character issues. And I would love to get back into that. Let's do it next time.
Yeah, So let's talk about what don't lose money means, since we never talked about
maybe we should talk about that as well.
Don't lose
All right,
money.
fair enough.
All right.
So until then, time to go play.
Bye.
That was great. I enjoyed that one quite a lot. That was awesome. So I hope you guys are enjoying this. We have so many more to do. This is just 11 out of like 400, so we have a long way to go. But until next time, if you find this on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Oh, hit that bell icon so that way you know every single time when I post, and leave a comment down below. What did you guys think about the last 11 of these now since we've done them? What have you picked up? What are some things that you're starting to understand from this? Is there anything that you're really enjoying? Until next time. Bye.